Okay.
We're live, and welcome everybody. Almost Halloween time. It's October Mid Month Outturn preview tasting time. Matter of fact, Jenna, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
Good. Always coming into these. It's always
I know
a good time.
we get to just hang out with friends and taste whiskey. It's pretty.
That's
awesome.
right.
Yeah,
that's right. And I was going to say real quick, I do see Joe Combs is in commenting, and I did get your email over the weekend, and I was going to call you today just to talk about. You had a few questions in there. If I don't think I replied to it, Jen, if you didn't reply to it, give me a call. Call in tomorrow, Joe. I'll pick up the phone and we'll talk about your email that you sent in. There were several questions in there, and I was like, this is going to be a long email to reply to, so I'll just give you a call. But I see Tom R is here, George Kaplan, Northwoods Whiskey Nerds, Too Slow, Stewart of Butte, Joe Combs, of course, Scott Friedland here in Wichita, Pickley Dew, the Whiskey Franco, Matthew J. Ryan, Whiskey, I already called out Whiskey Franco, Jeff, John Colling, Big Dog, Dustin Ward, Open Them Up, says hello, hello. I like that name, Open Them Up. Duke McHale, Derek Allen, Jimmy Jazz, T. Roy, Med Music Eric. All right. That's everybody right now. So we've got 5 whiskeys to preview tonight, and all 5. That's only 5 coming out tomorrow. Of course, 1 p.m. Eastern time, usual release time. So,
yeah, I'm excited to taste through these. I feel like this selection is a little different than what we typically kind of go through. So, yeah, super stoked to get this. I've only smelled them from when I opened them last night, and I smelled them as I was opening them, but I've not tasted them yet. So
no time like the present.
Yes.
We got any events coming up or anything we need to talk about first? Besides, the Outturn preview tastings are back.
Yeah, those are back, and we do have those happening in November. So there's actually 3 different days. It's going to be October 30th. That is going to be, I believe, San Diego and Washington, D.C. And then New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles, Seattle. Those are all going to be on the 31st, I believe, of October, Halloween.
That's Monday night. Yeah.
I could be wrong. And then I will be hosting here in Atlanta on November the 2nd. And I think there's one more city, November 2nd. So yeah, our Outturn preview tastings will be back, and really excited to be doing that. So.
And are those up on the website for people to buy tickets now? Yeah. So go to the website and click on the link, purchase your tickets through Eventbrite, and get signed up for them before they sell out.
So yeah, super excited I love in-person tastings. So, and then we have as John Coley mentioned, Dave Broom, the very brilliant Dave Broom, is going to be doing some book signings, and I believe that's Boston, New York, and DC, if I'm not mistaken.
Sounds right.
Yep. So you can get tickets to that.
Book signing and tasting. So I'll have some whiskey stuff.
Yeah. Yes, book signing and tasting. There's whiskey involved. But it's his new book called The Sense of Place, and I am very anxious to get mine in the mail. And so it'd be fun to taste some whiskeys with Dave Broom. Tom will be there as well. He's not as cool as Dave Broom, but don't tell him. And taste through a number of really nice whiskeys. So
yeah, good.
That'll be fun.
Good. All right, well, let's get started with the first one of the night. We're going to start off with cask 35.307, Walk Along the Riverbank. This is a 9-year-old Speyside, bottled at 60.1% ABV in the juicy oak and vanilla profile. First fill ex-bourbon barrel.
Yeah, I almost just read the tasting notes. I'm not going to do that.
Yep, yeah.
Because I'm not going to let sway my experience here.
Yep. So, we gotta wait till we get done tasting it, and then we get Jenna's reading of the tasting notes.
That's like my favorite part, is to read through those tasting notes.
Oh, juicy oak and vanilla, perfect profile on this one.
Exactly. Like you in a blind tasting could smell this and put this in juicy oak and vanilla.
Right.
Without question. It is juicy. It is oaky. It is like, it's like if you put a bunch of homemade like vanilla whipped cream inside of a barrel.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep. Light citrus fruits, a little bit of orange cream, citrusy, a little bit of apple, green apple. Actually like Jolly Rancher apple now.
Yes.
Ooh, a really bright, vibrant apple. But yeah, creamy vanillas, nice oak.
Super, super creamy on the nose. Like I'm hoping that the texture is even just like a fraction of what I'm getting on the nose of this, because it is just like, I feel like there's whipped cream in my nostrils.
Yeah. But boy, now that green, I got that green apple on my
big time. It is literally like a gigantic green Jolly Rancher. Green apple Jolly Rancher with whipped cream on top.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Or if you had Jolly Rancher cotton candy, like a sponge sugar with that sour apple, kind of.
I mean, there's still a good malty element to this too. Like I'm still getting like that malty body of it, but holy, just vanilla green apple.
Ooh, very nice indeed.
Yeah, the nose on this is, I have to say, like pretty impressed. Like the nose on this is a delight.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I think I probably say this every time, but a lot of people may look at that 9-year age statement and just disregard it, and think, oh, I only drink 10 or 12 or 15-year-old whiskeys. And if you do that with our picks, our barrels, you're missing out on a lot of good whiskey and
missing out on some great whiskey.
Yeah, right. All right, let's get in on the palate.
Right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh.
I just switched for that long. I'm like tearing up.
Yeah.
Weeds.
I mean, it's a hot one, but there's a lot. I'm going to throw juicy fruit gum in there, a little bit of some tropical notes going on here. Really citrusy, really fruity, really sweet, hot ABV, a little spicy.
Yeah.
On the back end, but good.
Ooh. And it is, that texture is there. It is very like it's like thick, like my tongue stuck to the roof of my mouth. Whoa, that is, I'm going to have to go in for another sip because like, I think I took too big of a sip. Like I didn't take my own advice of the smaller the sip, the more flavor, the bigger the sip, the more alcohol. I was just like, oh, first whiskey after a Monday, big sip. Well, let me take it and do that again.
Yeah, and I'm still tasting. I'm stick with the slight tropical notes are starting to shine through on this one. Nice vanillas, nice oak, juicy fruit gum, apples, orange zest. Just very nice. A lot of fruits, a lot of lighter citrusy type fruits on this one.
So I'm almost getting there's like a little graham crackery, like little base I'm getting to this. And then I'm with you, I'm getting big citrus palate, like lemon rind, orange rind, almost that like a little bit bitter kind of citrus note. But the texture, it's like in my, it's so stuck into like every nook and cranny of my mouth. So it's like very creamy. There's almost like that ointment-y kind of like note to it that I find a lot in a distillery that starts with a T and ends in or more. But yeah, this is fantastic. Big citrus for sure.
Nice maltiness coming through though on the palate as well with it. A little bit of spiciness on the back end. It's almost not necessarily cinnamon, almost a little pepperish on the back end, but very nice, malty, maybe even a very slight dry tobacco, or just kind of like dried leaves even. You like when you're outside this time of year?
Yes, that is like that's what I'm getting in like the finish, like the it's gone, but that like dried leaves, that is so spot on. Like the way a pile of just dry leaves that were kind of once a little damp smell, like in your backyard or like wherever.
Yeah,
that's it. Oh my god.
Or even when you used to jump into that pile of leaves, you know, as a kid, and just all that dust and everything, and the crushed leaves and everything.
Dude, I've never tasted that before in a whiskey.
Yeah, I don't know if I have either. That might be the first time.
Wow. Wow, this is the moment.
Yep, there you go.
That's fantastic. I love this distillery too. I think it's underrated, and I especially think that the cask that we're able to, release for members, they're just some of my favorite.
Yeah, known for a very fruity, light profile and just juicy. And this one's right in there with them. I put a drop of water on mine here. I haven't tasted it yet, but
I have water somewhere here.
Water, believe it or not, bringing out more of the citrus, more of the fruits, more of the vanilla. Yeah, I like that switching from a like a dried tobacco to just like dried leaves. Definitely still on the palate.
That with water, I like it better neat on the nose, but I actually like it with a little bit of water on the palate. It brings a lot of that sweetness forward for me with a little bit of water, and that's a fun whiskey. That's a fun whiskey to start with. Like this is one of those ones that you can kind of like sit with for a little while and really kind of dig a lot of stuff out of. There's a lot happening in this whiskey from nose to finish. So
yeah, and I think water even making it a little bit sweeter and almost like a sweet cream.
Yep.
Coffee. Homemade. Well, if you took sweet cream and made whipped cream with it.
Are you telling me I should go do that after this?
Do you have sweet cream?
Yeah, I do. There you can find a use for homemade whipped cream for just about anything. I would usually make like a tub of it and then I put it in my coffee in the morning.
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying.
Good. I'm going to read tasting notes now. All right. So this says, reeds along a riverbank and fresh fennel, apple limeade were followed by a cayenne pepper blast. Diluted a Neapolitan ice cream banana split. So maybe that riverbank, reeds along a riverbank, that's that leafy, like kind of, autumnal note we were getting. But yeah, that's.
Yeah. And as soon as you read that, I remember when I reviewed this, I was calling out like bamboo too in there with it, like reeds along. When you said reeds along a riverbank, I remember now. I was calling out like a bamboo type note to it, bamboo, and even like maybe a water chestnut.
Yeah. Ooh, good call. I love it. Talk about texture. Those are great texture. Yeah. I love that.
I added a second drop while you was reading the notes there, and it hasn't really. I mean, it's neat, very full of flavor, very vibrant, very bright. Add a drop of water, comes a little sweeter, a little creamier. 2 drops of water hasn't changed it that much. So neater, I think, with a splash of water is where you should be here.
Yeah. I liked it with a little bit of water. It just became a different whiskey.
Yeah.
It's great about, single cask strength whiskey.
Yep.
You get many opportunities to taste the whiskey in many different ways in one bottle.
That's a great one to start for like I say, for a 9-year-old. Don't discount it. And a great one to start with. So turn this off. We are going to a spicy and dry. Now this one, I'm going to warn you. Like you took too big a sip with that first one. Do not take too big a sip with this one. I did when I cracked it the first time, and I immediately had to look at the ABV.
Did you have to remind yourself that the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society is not for swigging, glugging, or knocking back?
That's right. I did. Yeah. This is a whopper at 64.6% in the spicy and dry profile, 13.93, a modern Highlander, 9-year-old,
No.
spicy and dry, second fill ex bourbon barrel.
You know what's interesting about this flavor profile is I feel like the majority of whiskeys in this flavor profile are kind of belters. ABV goes, like even just kind of looking at the ones I have up there, they're all, I think, literally maybe 1, 2. There's 2 up there that are under 60%. Most of those are like 64, 66. Yeah. So,
yeah. This one doesn't disappoint. Like I say, it's when I sat down with this the first night, I immediately realized I had taken way too big a sip for the first one. But
it's like
it.
You go first.
I mean, spicy without a doubt, peppery, and even maybe like a little Tabasco almost nose, but lemon curd, lemon pastry underneath it. There is some sweetness, fruity sweetness. I'm trying to suss this one. I'm getting something on the background here on the nose, besides malt even.
I'm getting like if you made like a butterscotch curd. There's like a little butterscotchy lemon something happening here. It's like sharp. There's like a sharpness to it.
Oh yeah.
Mine in citrus, and I would pick lemon over anything else. But then like deep on like the belly of it, there is like a butterscotchy, like those old grandma, like yellow candies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. How about sandalwood? Well, sandalwood musk. Like the
Yes, like those warm, like cedar, vetiver, those like in that thread.
Tom R is asking how many bottles will be available this one, and is there a bottle limit? There is not that I believe of. Let me check and see how many are available. I want to say 82.
Yeah, I don't think there is a.
And there's only 52 of these.
52.
And this is, speaking of kind of a strange one, coming from Distillery 13 and not being sherry influenced, or even not being sherry influenced, but not being in the spicy and sweet or sweet, fruity and mellow profile, to come out and be in spicy and dry. And at this ABV is stunning. We'll get into it here, but.
Yeah, I like that this isn't smothered in sherry and E150 and chill to death.
I'm telling you, blind, when we get on the palate, blind, there is no way I would ever guess this was a Distillery 13 release. It's just so unique.
On the nose, I would not guess that at all.
Right. All right, I'll get in on the palate. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, wow. Ooh. It's burning. It's burning all the way down.
Wow. But it's beautiful.
It's peppery. It's oaky. It's a little astringent, a little dry, not too bad, but there's also this, again, kind of a sweet cream. I'm trying to pick out what kind of fruits are in here with it, but it's really like a sweet cream underlaying on this spicy, peppery oak, board.
I'm getting, for the fruit too, it kind of took me aback because I don't think I've ever really picked this particular fruit out, like specifically in a whiskey. But there's like You know when you have a blueberry that's like not quite ripe, like just an under-ripened blueberry, you know, you buy like at the pack, and then like sometimes you get the big fat ones that are like juicy and delicious and like just so ready. And then sometimes you get those little ones that are a little tart, still absolutely delicious, but they're just like a little tart. I'm almost getting that, like oaky tart blueberries with like, I mean, there's definitely a texture to this. It's not as like thick as the first whiskey we had. But it's like what is that?
I know I'm going, it's almost like to me, it's almost like a grilled, I want to say apricot.
Oh.
But maybe not even grilled, but just, it's like a fruit that's not like as sweet when it's right. It's almost like it's more like an underripe stone fruit kind of type of sweetness here. But such a mouthfeel on this one. Peppery. I mean, it's a punch. This is a punch on the palate. And it's a great, being from Distillery 13 and being in the spicy and dry profile and 64.6%, this one is a stunner.
Yeah, this is probably one of the first whiskeys I've had in quite some time that's really kind of stopped me in my tracks to be like, what's happening here? And Alti said like a green mango, and that's actually a great descriptor when you have like a mango that's a little green or not quite ripe.
Yeah.
Like
or even a green banana almost too.
Yeah, that like texture and feeling and that flavor. I'm definitely getting that. And there's like a sharp tartness to this that I'm getting. And I can just think like that because I eat tons of blueberries. So that's just like the first thing that's coming to my mind is like a oaky, like blueberry, under-ripened blueberry.
Little bit of a nuttiness almost as well, almost like a peanut brittle, not real strong, underlaying on the back end. And a little bit of dry tobacco leaf again. This isn't the dry leaves in the yard, just a little bit of the dry, almost a cigar wrapper, dry cigar wrapper.
Yes.
Tangy, not tanginess, but just saturating.
This is a fun whiskey. Okay, I added a little water.
Yeah, I've got a little water on mine now. 64.6. I'm going to say it. This one's I think it's going to take water real well. The first drop on mine, some of that sweetness is coming through now, but everything is really just kind of expanding. Nothing more here that wasn't there neat, but it's just really so saturating now, velvety.
Oh.
Still peppery, spicy.
With water, with just a little bit of water, I'm getting like waffle cone, a little bit of ice cream. Like this just transformed into like a very different whiskey for me. Like there's like a biscuit, like I think that's why I said waffle. There's like a biscuity, like something, happening there, but I'm still getting that like fruit, that like fresh, under-ripened, like kind of fruit. So now I'm just thinking of like a waffle cone full of.
Well, I pictured, as soon as you said that, the waffle cone, you buy them, they're already made, but the waffle cone with the vanilla ice cream, the hard chocolate, and the peanuts. The crunched peanuts.
You have peanuts off blueberries on mine.
Is that drumstick? Is that what they call them?
Drumstick.
Yeah.
Wow.
A little bit of almost like a toasted or a burnt lemon custard. With some fresh cracked black pepper on it.
I'm with you on the pepper. I get it like here on the finish. Yeah. I'm gonna put this away.
The palate on that one, on it just does. Oh, you gotta read the notes.
Oh yeah, I gotta read the notes, but I want to like put more in my class. I'm gonna
add a second drop of water here while you're reading the notes.
All right.
But this one, I mean, seriously, the palate on this one. It's really stunning, and I think it's such a neat whiskey. Like I say, being from Distillery 13 and not having that sherry influence, and it's a second fill. ex-bourbon barrel. So really little cask influence here. A pretty good look at the distillate, from 13, and it's just a whopper on the mouthfeel and from front to back.
For sure. So this is an excellent modern day new make driven Highlander, all about the texture, richness, and weight in the mouth. Perfect for tumbler sipping.
Okay.
All right.
Not a lot of tasting notes in there.
No, but all right. We just gave a whole bunch of tasting notes. So.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good whiskey. That's a good whiskey. I have this chocolate bar sitting on my desk, and I want to pair this with that whiskey.
Speaking of, I got some sourdough bread here for a palate cleanser. I better cleanse a little bit after that one before we get to our next milk and vanilla.
I'm convinced that you are half sourdough, half made.
Yeah. I eat a lot of it. I'm still tasting 13.93.
I know, I'm like, drink some water. I need some gum after that one.
Now, that was the first one from this set of 5. That was the first one I cracked open when I saw it. I was like, well, that's the first one I'm sampling and tasting. And yeah, I took way too big a sip right off the bat. Like, I didn't look at the ABV.
Yeah.
And immediately I was like, oh, I just messed up.
I have made a mistake. It's a bad choice. All right.
All right. That was a good pop.
Was it? Yeah. Oh, yours was good too.
You know what? And the thing is, hold on just a second, because we haven't shown that. I keep meaning to show the color when we get started, and I don't. This was the last one anyway, but 9-year second fill ex-bourbon barrel. Very light influence on that one.
I don't know how Ben does this.
Yeah.
There we go.
About what you'd expect, though, for 9 years from a second fill ex-bourbon barrel, but very little cask influence on that Distillery 13. And I think it's just a beautiful example of a non-sherried, non-chill filtered, non-watered down, cask from.
That was fantastic.
And some people named it in the comments. They were right on the distillery on that one. So, all right. Now we're going through to an expert generalist. Is that right?
Yes.
9.225.
9.225.
We're going to go a little bit out of whack here with the age statement. We're going to go to a 17-year-old because of the flavor profile here. This one being a little bit, and I poured it. Got confused there for a second. Going back to our juicy oak and vanilla profile, we got a couple more heavy saturated palate ones coming up, but
this was one of those distilleries, this one and the next one that we're going to be tasting, that I didn't really get into. Like, I know they have core releases that they release, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was big in Italy. But I never really got into this distillery until I was, having bottles from the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. So
right, yeah, I'd had core range, decent, not bad bottles, nothing exceptional. But yeah, the single casks here, we've had some great ones from Distillery 9. Again, almost like 35. Usually a nice kind of lighter, fruitier profile.
Oh, I'm out of focus here.
The nose fruits and almost berries forward. Vanilla and malt. Little bit darker on the nose for the first. So the distillery started with Distillery 35, a juicy oak and vanilla, which was lighter, citrusy vanillas. This one almost feels a little bit darker fruit, but still vanillas. And probably because it's 17 years old, but a lot more cask influence, I think, here.
Yeah, that for sure.
Yeah. Cinnamons.
Have you, I don't know if this is Cold Stone ice cream. Okay. You've walked into one of those before?
Yeah.
The smell when you walk into one of those?
Yes.
That is what this smells like. Like walking into like an ice cream shop.
I'd say a little nuttiness on the nose on this one as well. Again,
Yeah. That's all I can smell is a freaking ice cream shop.
yeah. A little bit of probably the waffle cone again from your ice cream shop, or baked goods, baked bread, baked croissants,
pastry,
yeah, cream filled pastries.
berries, like fresh berries. I mean, that's like dessert dream.
Ooh. Strawberries. Look, a little strawberry on the nose. Strawberry syrup on that waffle cone of vanilla ice cream. Ooh. Wow. All right.
That's cheers.
Cheers.
That's a big whiskey too.
Wow. I think the 17 years definitely shows on this one, that cask influence. Wow. Yeah. Still, I'm going to stick with berries here, a little bit darker, more fruity, not necessarily citrus type fruits. Nice toasted vanillas, malty, nutty, waffle cones. A little straw instead of malt. It's almost
I was gonna say it is like grassy,
grassy.
like dried grass. So that is spot on. That is definitely the first note that came to mind.
Alan McGregor pointing or saying, commenting, does anybody else think that the Distillery 9 18-year-old deserves a little respect? We get some great single cask from Distillery 9. I mean, we get a lot of great single casks anyway, but yeah, Distillery 9, I think in my book is definitely moved up from SMWS offerings, and just what a cask strength cask from 9 can bring. Wow.
There's like, what is that? There's like a tropical element to this.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't put my finger on what it is because it's subtle. It's like a very subtle tropical kind of note. I don't know if it's
I think this is one I call out coconut and maybe a pina colada.
Yeah. It's like a faint
mm-hmm.
pina colada, right?
Mm-hmm. With maybe even a lime lime slice on it. Wow.
Tropical, like, I'm still getting that berry kind of whisper on the back of this too.
Yeah.
Baked goods. Wow. And this is like for 17 years old, like this still carries, like, that still packs a punch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is our third whiskey. And it's
how about fruit cocktail, like the pears and the peaches that are in that heavy syrup?
Yeah, like that you put in like your kid's lunch.
Yeah.
Like that you used to put in your kid's lunch back in like the 90s or whatever that was.
Let's get it. I'm going to put a drop of water on it. I haven't done that yet.
Cleanse my palate a little bit here.
But no, this one, the first one we did was a 9-year-old juicy oak and vanilla. I think if you did these side by side, you would see the difference in the age from a 9-year to a 17. 9 was a little bit more punch, on the palate, just a little bit more bright and vibrant. And this one's just more smooth and long lasting. And that 17 years kind of soaks into your taste buds and your palate. And you're getting a little bit more tropical push here, fruity push.
I feel like with a little water, you get even more of that. It's like even more tropical, even more fruity with a little bit of water, at least on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like texture. We've had like great texture in all three of these whiskeys. Like big creamy textural notes on this. Yeah, fun.
Nice cinnamon on the tail end. A little bit of spice, not peppery, but cinnamons. Maybe even a little nutmeg with a little bit of that nuttiness. Yeah, very nice. Grassy.
Ooh. Yeah, I think I like this one with a little more water. Who am I? Who am I? Yeah, this with a little water. It's like I definitely get like I still get that grassy, like that dried grass element. There's definitely a little more sweetness there, more of that tropical kind of thread. It's nice with a little bit of water.
Well, I see Big Dog is commenting. He says, "'Tis a stormy evening here on the Space Coast. Cooler air is a coming." And I know Big Dog's in Florida. Hopefully, you guys come out of the hurricane and everything all right down there.
Ooh. It doesn't get cold in Florida.
Yeah, like what, 65 is cold?
65 degrees. I know the mornings here have been in like the low 40s. And I love it. I love cold weather. So this is.
I think we were 35 or 36 here this morning when I got up, but it's supposed to hit 31 tonight, so just below freezing.
So I love it. Cozy season. Oh, I gotta read the tasting notes. Losing it. All right. So this says creamy vanilla and apple crumble fused with melon, mango, and strawberry sweets as coconut husk found fudge, cinnamon, and black tea in an oak cup. Okay, I can definitely that black tea note. Now that I've like read it, it's like all I can taste.
Yeah.
On the finish of that. So like that kind of bitter, like black tea kind of note, like that sits in like the sides of your palate.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely see that.
Yeah, I like we called out a lot of the notes that are on there.
Yeah, we did. That's probably the closest of the three, at least, that we've gotten to what they've written.
Yeah, and of course, I say this a lot with our whiskeys, but again, water I think helps this one, and I think just really helps kind of expand all those notes, and it's just I didn't really get that much more with water that I wasn't getting neat, but it just really kind of helps everything, spread its wings and fly.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
I definitely like that one with a little water. The flavors, like you said, just get a little bit bigger. So, all right. Well,
did we show the color on that one? 17 year.
Yeah, we did.
Well, we went back to the spicy and dry. Did we show that one? Again, pretty light, pretty pale. So very little cask influence there for a 17-year-old. That's a very light color.
Yeah.
So very light cask influence on that one. All right. And pizza sourdough.
I like it. I only have chocolate in here, but I'm afraid it would sway my palate too much. So I have to wait until afterwards.
So you've bought some of the stuff to get started to make sourdough.
I have. Yeah. I've just not done it yet.
You haven't started step one yet.
No, I have the book. You recommended a great book, the Tartine book. I have that. But I have not started a sourdough.
Is that the Tartine bread book? Isn't that just a great coffee table book, though?
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Yeah,
I love just any kind of cookbook, though.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been home really to do lots of cooking, but now that it's getting to be cozy season, I'll be doing lots of that. So we'll have to have a sourdough like bake off challenge. You're like a master now.
So anybody that's watching, I started making sourdoughs just in late May. I started. So my sourdough, my starter, if you know the process, it's only 5 months old now. Some people's are decades, if not hundreds of. I mean, they've had grandma's sourdough starter and stuff that they've kept feeding for decades. But I'm still turning out some pretty good bread. All right.
This is the one I've been wanting to taste.
Royal Bouquet. 55.70, 15-year-old Speyside, spicy and sweet profile. Second fill ex-bourbon hogshead, 57.7%.
So when I was smelling them, doing the smell test as I was opening these up so they could, breathe a little bit. When I smelled this one, I was like, ooh, I want to taste that.
Yeah. And a little bit. So this 15-year-old is darker than the 17-year-old we just tasted from a second fill ex bourbon hogshead.
The nose on this is just a dream. It is dreamy. I mean, it smells like you are sitting in like a castle, like draped in velvet, and there's just like fresh flowers all around you. It is just smells so luxurious and like romantic, and like I'm getting in my feels when I smell this whiskey.
Well, and it does. And so it does. As soon as you said like sitting in an old castle, I did realize. Yeah, I mean, it smells like like old books.
Yeah, there's like a little musty
Yeah.
like note to this that I'm just like so in love with. It smells so good.
So this one I do, and I just shot my review of this one today, and I have tasted this. So I'm going to wait and see if you pick up. But this one is a little bit different from some of the spicy and sweets that we get. I think you've already almost hit some of it. So I'm not going to say too much. I'll wait and see if it's the same. Once you taste a sip, we'll see. Yeah.
All right.
I'm not going to reveal too much, but yeah, the nose is darker. It's older. It's red fruits, almost berries.
It smells like you just like went back in time almost.
Yeah. A lot of baking spices here.
There's like a little leathery like note happening, like an old leather chair. There's like a verdant kind of note, like a very green, like foliage kind of thing happening here. Like, I don't know, man, this one just smells so good. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Cheers. Oh my God.
There it is.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is like, what's happening? Oh, that's so good. Okay, I'm not gonna read the tasting notes.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, it is very musty. Like this is a musty, like old, like cobwebs, dust, like old paper, like this is so my speed. Like this is my kind of whiskey in a bottle.
I called it. So on the palate, you did hit something. And I think this is a little bit different than some of the spice or a lot of the spicy and sweets that we get. To me, right off the bat, it was earthy and tobaccos. And then you just brought to mind, you were talking like old books. I thought old newspapers, like you have those stacks of old newspapers and stuff around, kind of dusty, but kind of musty. And that smell.
Like if somebody was like smoking cigars in a library and then like abandoned it and nobody found it for like 200 years.
Yeah.
In a castle. And of course you're wearing all velvet. OMG. This whiskey has got me. This is fantastic.
Yeah, it's
wow.
I had spicy and sweet expectations coming in, which it is, but it's really that kind of that oldness, dank, earthiness, almost a little vegetal, little leather, little tobacco. It's kind of making it stand out to me in this flavor profile, and something that I don't think I've really had before in spicy and sweet at a 15-year-old, statement.
Wow. Yeah, this one tastes older to me than 15 years. Like this wine tasting, this could be 20, 22, 23 plus.
I think blind, I would definitely think this was over 20 years old.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it is like, these are my favorite notes. I actually I did a tasting once for this group of people, very brilliant people. I don't know if I can't say who, but you know who you are if I'm talking about you. And very famous director artist of some very famous movies, animated movies. And there was a note that I got, and it was this, taste and smells like old books. And that's like one of my favorite notes in whiskey ever. That like old paper and books. And I just love the smell of even a new book. But like old books, it is just one of my favorite smells. And he drew a picture of me because like I lit up when I tasted that whiskey, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's old books. And he like captured the moment in a picture. I have it back here in my cabinet. And I just think about that every time I taste the whiskey like this. I'm so happy right now.
And before anybody asks, there are 88 of these available. Spicy and sweet, really full of spice, baking spice, so not peppery spice, cinnamons, nutmegs, cardamoms, brown sugars. And this palate that's kind of dank and kind of old and leathery and tobacco and earthy. Yep. Yeah, stunning.
Holy cow!
I did just throw a drop of water in here.
I'm not even going to do that. Water on this one. It is perfect the way it is. Not touching it. Oh my gosh. Oh, love this. Okay, I'm going to read the tasting notes.
Well, I hate to spoil it, but you might try it with a drop of water. It almost brings out more leather, more of the old, adding in though berries, more of the darker stone fruits here. Oh yeah. More dusty, more tobacco. Very nice.
Oh.
Alan McGregor says this will be hard to resist. Hide the credit card.
No, I'm going without water on this.
You're going without water. Still neat.
Just neat. And I think 57.7. These like mid 50 ABVs are kind of what I've been leaning towards lately. Anyway,
where the sweet spot is.
This is a Jenna whiskey, if there ever was one. Really, really, really fantastic. I'm going to read the tasting notes now. So this says wild thyme Greek yogurt, followed by lemongrass iced tea and kiwi and pomegranate parfait. While in the finish, a Palms d'Ambre fit for a king. Got to scratch that out for a queen. This
Queenie.
This is special.
Yeah.
And another distillery that I didn't really get into or really know a lot about until, I started having some of these single casks from them. I've actually had quite a few that have been really stellar.
55, it's one that, I've had core range. I love their core range, and I love the single casks that we've had from as well. And I think this is maybe the third one we've had this year from 55. But yeah, just it's good distillate. Good
yeah, really. That's a good one. Sorry, I got a little in my feels on that one.
And some people will be disappointed because we do not have a peat.
No peat.
No peat.
No peat.
But we are finishing with an Oloroso that did end up in our sweet, fruity, and mellow profile, though.
Ooh.
And again, piece of sour.
Pretend
Cast 80.30 wading through flavor. An 11-year-old Speyside, sweet, fruity, and mellow. Ex-bourbon hogshead, and then a first fill ex-Oloroso hogshead. 58.6% ABV. Look at that color. That's the best color. That's the best color all night.
Almost matches my sweater.
Yep. Nice influence. I think this is 9 and 2. Let me check real quick. 9 in the ex-bourbon and 2 in the Oloroso. Mm-hmm. Yep. 9 years. Ex-bourbon hogshead. 2 years. Oloroso hogshead. Great cask influence here.
This smells like if you could make a perfume out of jam. Like it's jammy.
Mm-hmm.
It's very fragrant. It has like a perfume kind of like the way it feels in your nose quality to it.
You remember in Friends when Joey was talking about how his mom would take him or grandma would take him to the movies and drop him off with a jar of jam, and he would sit in the movie and eat the jam with his fingers.
You know, I never watched Friends.
Oh.
I did not. I'm sorry to disappoint.
That was Monica started making jam at one point, and it took Joey back to his childhood when he'd get dropped off at the movies with a jar of jam.
It's a good idea, though. I love jam. You put jam on your sourdough?
Oh, I've got some preserves, some blackberry preserves that I've used, and honey. Of course, a lot of eggs on toasted sourdough is very good, and toasted sandwiches.
So I make this. There is, I saw this recipe for sourdough. They like toast it where it gets like where you can like run the knife across it and it like makes all those ASMR noises. Toast up the sourdough really well and then put garlic hummus.
Ooh.
And then slice some cucumbers like really thin. And then toss them in a little like olive oil and za'atar seasoning. And then put that on top of your sourdough with the garlic hummus and like a little lemon juice on top. Like, it's so good. I don't know. If you're into that kind of thing.
I'd throw a little column of olive on there too, maybe tomato.
Yeah, there you go. So much you can do. Toast is like so underrated. I was just thinking about this. Literally this whole like past like 5 days, I've just been looking at food and like recipes, and I'm like, you can do so much with toast.
Mm-hmm.
You have savory toast. You can have sweet and savory. Like there's so many options.
Yeah, I see your black. I'll take your jam and I'll raise it to blackberry jam, which I'm just talking blackberry preserves, but
because there's like a sharpness, like a very kind of like sharp quality, sharp and sweet and sugary.
I mean, it is. The thing is, though, it is a little bit lighter for 2 years in the Oloroso. A lot of these may be in the deep, rich, and dried fruits profile. This one has stayed in that sweet, fruity, and mellow, so it is a little bit lighter. There's not quite as much Oloroso showing on the nose. It's lighter, sweeter. There's some brown sugars, some honey. Sugar. Yeah.
Yeah, this is I wouldn't put this in a Dirtiff.
Not based on the nose, not yet.
No.
Let's see.
Not on the nose.
A little bit of brown sugars.
Plums.
Still sweeter, berries.
Yeah, there's like a plum.
Yeah.
Like quality to this, like stewed plums. There's a little pruny thing going on. Grapey. It's like in that thread. It's jammy. That's just super jammy. I'm going in. Cheers.
Yep. Cheers. I was looking at comments, a couple here on the sweet, fruity, and mellow profile here.
Whoa.
Logan Mott says, "Hey, now this isn't right, Scott. You know, if you are one of the hosts, there needs to be a Dirtiff." Yeah, close. Yeah, we do have. And Big Dog points out they can't all be Dirtiff or peated. We need to find out what else there is. Right? That's right.
I was not expecting that profile on the palate. Because what you said is like wait until you taste it. So I thought it was going to be like super Dirtiffy.
Yeah.
On the palate. But I think actually the nose and palate on this match really beautifully. It's super jammy on the nose for me, and it is super jammy on the palate for me as well.
Yeah.
And it's like almost cold on the palate.
I think it's borderline. Could have maybe went either way. It is sweeter. I think if it was a little bit darker, it would have definitely rose up into the Dirtiff profile. We are sweet, very sweet berries here, almost like you took raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, and you made a little syrup and put some sugar on there and let them kind of sit all together. Yeah. Definitely lighter. Not a lot of the, Oloroso, sometimes you're going to get dates, the plums, the figs, a nice almond nuttiness, things like that. Not here. It's definitely just sweet berries.
It's big berries. Yeah.
Yeah. Some nice brown sugars, a little syrupy, but very nice.
Like you could make some like jam, like a berry jam, and put a little bit of this in there.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, really, so sherry for me, like those Dirtiff profiles aren't ones that I typically gravitate towards. Like I have to really be in a mood for like that kind of intense sherry character. I really like this because it's super approachable. It's super like big berry. It's very fresh. It's very bright on the palate. It's not heavy.
Yeah.
But like you're still getting very intense aromas, on the nose, and very intense flavor on the palate, but it's not heavy at all.
Slight tobaccos, slight leathers, not as much as what we'll normally see with some of our Dirtiffs and the Olorosos here. So I do think the sweet, fruity, and mellow, very nice here. I've got a drop of water in.
Yeah, I almost get that tobacco, like it's on the finish that I'm getting that like little tobacco note, like leather, that kind of almost dry kind of note. I really like this.
Yeah.
I really like this.
Ooh. So water, almost expanding, I think maybe the Oloroso here. Maybe bringing out a little bit more of the leather, maybe a little bit more of those darker Oloroso notes. It's a little drier. It was sweeter, neat. It's still here, but I think the berries and everything was showing itself more. But the water has allowed, like I say, I think some of the Oloroso now to start to push forward a little bit.
Well, shall I read the tasting notes?
Bingo.
Right, here we go. It says clouty dumpling, sticky toffee pudding, and grown-up cherry jam turned after reduction into a hot chocolate with marshmallows and cream.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really get like the marshmallow note.
I can see hot chocolate.
Yeah, I can see the hot chocolate. Yeah, like on the finish, there's a little bit of that like chocolatey.
With a berry drizzle or a berry.
Yeah, I always just think of like Queen Anne cherries, like the chocolate covered cherries.
Yeah.
Definitely a little element of that. But the jam,
yeah,
pretty spot on.
Very nice.
Yeah,
yep.
I really like this whiskey. This is probably the one that has surprised me the most out of all of the ones that we've tasted. This is really good. And like if you're like me and you don't typically gravitate towards those big like deep rich and dry fruit flavor profiles, this is, I mean, a really great whiskey to kind of get the best of all worlds, minus the peat, of course. Really nice whiskey.
I think the one that really surprised me was that the spicy and dry from Distillery 13. They're just so unique, such a unique spin from that, from Distillery 13. But not surprisingly, these are, all 5 of these whiskeys, very tasty, very good.
All very different.
One of these, at any time. And this one I think is still probably borderline. Could maybe win either way, Dirtiff or Fruity Mellow.
You just want it to be a Dirtiff. You just want it to be a Dirtiff.
But I think blind, if you tasted this, you're going to get the Oloroso. You're going to get those darker fruits, and you're just going to think Dirtiff. But no, it is lighter. It is sweeter. And you just don't get a lot of those darker Oloroso notes with it. So it's very intriguing. It's very interesting. It's very good.
Yeah, I really like this. And this would be I think this would be a great whiskey to like pair things, especially like with the holidays coming up. With a lot of the foods that you typically eat around the holidays. Like I would want this with like, I don't know, like a prime rib and like mashed potatoes. Like this is the kind of whiskey that I would want to pair with it just because it gives that little kind of opposite, palate to it.
Garlic mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
You had me at prime rib there.
It's not something we only eat it like once a year. My husband puts it on the Traeger.
Oh,
And it is like,
I do that too.
oh my gosh, it's like the best thing I eat. It's my favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even like a big meat person, but that is just. But I would want to pair this whiskey with that.
Yeah, I just use coarse ground black pepper, coarse kosher salt, and minced garlic, and rub it good with that. Put it on the smoker for a few hours, and just the best prime rib.
Now I'm hungry.
Just now you're hungry, really?
I know, right? Well, I was thinking of dessert, but now I'm like a steak. Yeah, this was a really cool lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, that 55 is just, it makes me want to weep. And then, yeah, I think that 13 was the most unique. Like, that was one of those whiskeys that you're like, wait a second, like, what is really happening?
Yeah.
There's a lot you can pull out of that. That's like a conversation piece kind of whiskey. And the two juicy oak and vanillas were, especially side by side. It'll be interesting to taste these side by side with such a big age difference between the two. Obviously different distilleries, but those were a lot of fun to taste through. That first one was really impressive. Really kind of caught me off guard. And that 17 years, just a really beautiful example of a great distillate and a great cask for a good amount of time.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was a really cool little lineup, a little different than we normally do. So
yeah, it wasn't. I mean, it is good. Actually, when a guy's like, "Oh, there's no peated," I was like, "Hey, once in a while, we do what we got to do."
And Twyla was asking, what was the last one again? The last one was the 80.30 waiting through flavor. 11 years space side, sweet, fruity, and mellow, and ex-bourbon and ex-oloroso.
If you didn't see it, Jenna, I remember Twyla was tuning in during the marathon, and she really kind of gave you a shout out as far as being a female, in this realm and being such a positive, example and just such a good person as far as tasting whiskey and bringing notes that she's learned a lot from. So
that's incredibly sweet. Thank you very much. I am a firm believer that whiskey's for everyone, and it should be for everyone. And I just, hope to continue to be a part of that for as long as I can. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Great lineup again. I know and so this was all five whiskeys, and I don't have a slide to show you since we tasted all five whiskeys. We went through and had the board up for each one of them. But again, 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, they'll all be available.
Should we walk through it real quick one more time?
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah. So the first one we tasted was 35.307 Walk Along the Riverbank. Oh, there it is. 9 years Spey, first fill ex-bourbon. And then we tasted the 13.93 in our spicy and dry. There it is, a modern Highlander. And then we went to 9.225, an expert generalist, 17 years Spey in first fill ex-bourbon. And then we went to 55.70, not a Royal Bouquet, just Royal Bouquet, 15 years Spey side in second fill ex-bourbon. And then lastly, we did the 80.30 waiting through flavor, 11 year in ex-bourbon and first fill ex-oloroso, both hogsheads. There it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think all five whiskeys were just great examples of their flavor profiles and just great examples from those distilleries. So great single casks and great whiskeys.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Not a bad way to end a Monday, I'll say.
Twyla says those last two are definitely going to earn me more Delta miles. I see Kilco Whiskey Musings.
At it. I like that.
I see Kilco Whiskey Musings is turning in. So tuning in. Good to see you, Kilco.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Always a pleasure, Scott.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jenna, appreciate it. And Zach and I will do the November Outturn preview tasting. It's Halloween night, October 31st. So stay tuned for that. And I don't know if we'll be in costume or not. We'll have to see. But thanks to everybody that tuned in. Jenna, thanks for joining me. And remember, Scotch Malt Whiskey Society whiskeys are not for swigging, glugging, or knocking back. Please drink responsibly. Cheers.